Most of us are taught to fear debt from opening our first bank account. We watch parents and neighbors buckle under the weight of bills. Millions of Americans wake up already owing money before their feet even hit the floor. Credit card balances, monthly car notes, and massive student loans create a constant background hum of financial stress. But at the highest tiers of the economy, the logic changes. Billionaires, massive corporations, and elite real estate investors borrow billions of dollars constantly. They use that borrowed money to accelerate their accumulation of wealth. While the middle class is told to avoid debt at all costs, the world's most successful investors use it as their primary engine for growth. Debt has no moral alignment. It is a neutral amplifier. The separation between financial struggle and financial freedom depends on the distinction between destructive borrowing and strategic leverage. For most consumers, borrowing is driven by the immediate need for survival or the psychological pull of status and instant gratification. This diagram illustrates the math of everyday consumer debt. On the left, you purchase a car, a phone, or designer clothes. Almost immediately, the item loses value. On the right, your loan balance stays high, gathering interest. Eventually, the item breaks or becomes obsolete, but the interest payments remain. Month after month, that fixed cost siphons away the money you haven't even earned yet. People borrow against their future labor to finance items that make them poorer over time, trading years of financial security for temporary emotional highs. Wealthy investors approach a bank loan with a different question. They stop asking, "What can I buy with this cash?" and instead ask, "What can this money produce?" They direct borrowed capital strictly toward productive assets. These are systems, like commercial real estate or private businesses, designed to grow in value and generate independent cash flow. This chart illustrates the mechanics of leverage. Real estate is highly effective for this because an investor can control a massive asset while putting down a small fraction of the total purchase price. Once purchased, the system runs on a dual engine. The tenant's monthly rental income pays down the borrowed debt, chipping away at the principal, while the underlying property steadily increases in overall value. Over long periods, inflation gradually erodes the real purchasing power of the dollar. This effectively shrinks the actual weight of a 30-year fixed-rate loan, even as the asset's rental income climbs. Elite investors use leverage to acquire self-sustaining economic machines that eventually pay for their own debt. This strategy creates a cycle where lenders reserve their best terms and largest credit lines for the people who already possess capital. This diagram maps out the systemic feedback loop. An investor acquires assets, which lowers their overall risk profile with the bank. That safety allows them to secure cheaper debt, which they use to acquire even more assets. The cycle repeats. Asset owners compound their holdings using cheap leverage, while everyday consumers face high interest rates to finance depreciating purchases. This divergence accelerates the gap between those who own and those who consume. However, borrowed money acts as a magnifying glass. When an investment succeeds, debt multiplies the profits. When markets crash or properties lose value, debt multiplies the losses. Investors who overextend themselves without extreme risk management, such as maintaining deep cash reserves and multiple income streams, can face rapid financial ruin during a downturn. Using leverage without emergency reserves or strict financial discipline transforms a calculated investment into a high-stakes gamble with another person's money. Wealth building operates on a timeline of decades. Elite investors sacrifice the short-term thrill of immediate consumption to focus on a distant horizon. We see two distinct financial outcomes. Debt used for consumer goods slowly steals future freedom. Debt used for productive assets provides the foundation for economic sovereignty. The objective is rarely a high annual salary. It is the ownership of systems that produce value regardless of whether the owner is working. Success in this system requires sacrificing short-term comfort for lasting control. Debt is merely a tool, and when handled with precision, it accelerates the path